Tell the people that Phony Water is back. Like that.
You are tuned into the W Show on Sideline Sports Talk Network and 100.1 FM Kansas City. Live from Radio Row in San Francisco, California. Brought to you by Gates Barbecue, the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, Dillard Zona Rosa, the Soul of Santa, Golden Gate Funeral and Cremation Services, and Wood Nissan.
All right, we are back here live from Radio Row in sunny San Francisco. I know if you're listening to us in Kansas City, it's 11:25 in Kansas City, and I know it's kind of cold. Probably got on your jackets right now, but we're in sunny San Francisco here at Radio Row for our first interview of the day. Mr. Steve Denton. Hey, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to be with you all. You know, it's funny, when I got out of college, I wanted to be on the radio.
Really?
I just wasn't good enough. So I had to go do something else.
You got the voice for it. Yeah. and you're the CEO of Open Doors. Tell us about Open Doors.
Sure. Open Doors. So we're the market leader in NIL, name, image, likeness, college athletes being able to monetize their name, image, and likeness.
Okay.
Which any of us should be able to do.
Of course.
If the brand wants to pay us to do that.
Yes, indeed.
We're headquartered in Lincoln, Nebraska. So just a bit down the road.
Right up the street. Yeah.
My two co-founders played ball there.
Okay.
And one of them's from Kansas City.
Oh, nice.
Blake Lawrence. Yeah. Shout out to the Lawrence family there.
Okay.
KC Market. But what we do is we got 200,000 athletes that are on the platform, and it provides almost like a Shopify experience for brands to be able to work with these athletes to promote their products, do Instagram reels, do in-store activations, and we did about $200 million with college athletes last year.
Wow.
From
I
brands.
said only about 200.
Right. The NIL market's about $2 billion right now.
Yeah.
We see 500 million of it through our disclosure forms and things like that. But that's what we do. We provide a platform for brands and fans to work with athletes. But then the three important things there is how do you keep them compliant?
Right.
Because these athletes are not just influencers who can do anything, right?
Exactly.
They got things you got to keep them eligible.
Right.
18-year-olds, you try to get hold of 18-year-old lately? Accessibility is tough, right? So you better have them on the app so you can DM. And then reliability, right? They're not professional influencers. They're
true.
College students. They're going to school. They're trying to graduate. They've got to go to practice, watch film. So doing all those things, but to help create that economy for them and level the playing field for these athletes and allow them to get a car payment. Because the average NIL deal, it's like $1,500. Everybody wants to talk about the millions of dollars. They want to talk about the top 4%.
Okay.
But 50% of the NIL deals are under 50 grand. In fact, 30% are under 10 grand.
Okay.
So everybody likes to focus on the headlines.
Yeah, right.
But here's a headline. By the end of the decade, beginning of the decade, college athletes were making $0.
Yeah.
End of the decade, they're going to be making $6 billion a year.
Wow.
Now, that's more than NHL players are going to be making by the end of the decade.
It is.
So it's a fast-growing business, but college sports is the second highest revenue generating behind the NFL. So that's why we're here and excited to be here. So thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah. What would you tell the parent of a high schooler? Like I have a son that's 14 that's plays competitive baseball pretty good. And we're looking at, I know some high schools in Missouri are accepting, we're be able to get NIL deals. What would you tell that parent?
First thing is education, right? So, and your son could actually go into Open Doors right now, sign up for free, and get access to the player resources. So financial literacy, right? How to take a class on how to be an influencer. These kids not good at it's just not natural for them, like because you got to present yourself in a way and understanding your social audience, but. I think the other thing that's really important is like, especially in that area, like Huddle does a nice job with this, especially if your kid's really good, is look, number one, follow your passion and do your thing. Baseball is an interesting sport.
Yeah, it is.
Because in baseball, unless you go like first or second round draft pick, you're not going to make much. But until later, if you make it,
of course.
But you could probably make 50 to 75 grand a year in school.
Yeah,
if you're at a school like LSU or something like that, or Florida. So that's an interesting one because the economics are so different. But I would get educated on it, understand my social audience, understand how to be an influencer, and then financial literacy. And then lastly, it's just like understand the value.
Yeah.
Right. Like, what does that value look like? Because Your kid's in high school. That's totally different.
Mhm.
And he's 14. You got to sign the contracts.
Right.
He can't
Right.
sign the contracts.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Like 18-year-old, you got to be over 18 to sign a contract. But what's fascinating about it is as they move through the system, they just become so much more competent.
Right. That's true.
And I just love to go on campuses and hear these kids talk about how they made $500 and made a car payment.
Yeah.
For me, like that's
Yeah.
like the joy in the work.
Yeah. And Open Doors, you guys started in 2012. So starting
Yeah.
about 8 to 10 years, almost a decade before NIL really gets rolling.
Yeah.
How did the business build in between that time?
Yeah, it's a great question because I joined a couple years ago and joined the firm. So I always talk to my co-founders, like, what were you guys doing?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
what were you doing? They actually started the business in Nebraska to help their teammates who went pro
Yeah.
monetize their social. And back then it was just pay to tweet.
Yeah.
So
Very true. It
that was
was.
it, right?
Yeah.
Like that was, and the whole business was pay to tweet. And Prince Nakamura, who went to Nebraska, he was teammates with my co-founders,
Mhm.
and he went next level. And my co-founders set up the agency to help him get paid to tweet. And then the next thing you know, he's referring them to his partners,
Yeah.
and that whole pipeline. So it was an agency that was helping professional athletes only
Mhm.
monetize their social. And when NIL hit, just in a really good place to expand that, because we had technology, we had tools, and we had a presence.
Yeah.
And we were able to do that. But it started with pro athletes
Mhm.
and teammates from Nebraska and expanded from there.
Yeah.
In fact,
Cool.
we still have 40,000 professional athletes that are on the platform, because when
Yes.
they move on,
Right.
they still keep their Open Doors
Yeah.
account.
And I mean, you have to keep it because for NIL. So NIL's been around what now? About
Just
5
beginning
years.
of the decade. Yeah, we're in year 5.
So how have things changed? Because like it seems like NIL has kind of like evolved very fast.
Yeah.
How have things changed in that time? Because I know you have to have certain different compliances that you're abiding by. So
Yeah. So it started out just real simple. Let's let college athletes monetize their name, image, likeness. Any 3 of us are going to school.
Mhm.
If we were doing anything other than playing sports, we could have done it.
Right.
Mhm.
It just felt unfair. So legalize the ability for that to happen. But then money gets involved, right?
Yeah.
Collectives,
Big dollars.
donors, guys that own a lot of car dealerships,
Right.
stuff like that.
Right.
Hey, we need a quarterback.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then that started spiraling and drove a lot of dollars through.
Mhm.
And the kids were still figuring it out.
Mhm.
But like last year, you got the House settlement, which went into effect back in July,
Mhm.
which allows the schools to directly pay the athletes up to $20.5 million a year.
Wow.
Now that's for all the athletes on campus. And that's a salary cap.
Mhm.
But if you think about it, like a football team that's going to go national championship level, you're going to need to spend anywhere between 25 and 40 just on the football team.
Of course.
Yeah.
That
Of course.
cap kills you. And if you want a basketball team that's going to go Sweet 16, you're probably looking at 5 to 7.5.
Mhm.
And women's basketball, a little bit less than that.
Right.
That's what the schools would pay.
Yeah. And also as far as like when you're taking in these kids, do the majority of your kids, do they already have a school in place, or is it more so they come to Open Doors and say, hey, I have Nebraska, Cal,
Yeah.
and Rutgers?
Well, Rutgers,
mhm.
no. So that's good, but no.
Yeah.
No, we don't do that. When you sign up, you've already made a school commitment,
Okay.
and then you're going to go in the portal.
Yeah.
What we're helping them really do is monetize it through brands.
Okay.
Got you.
So that $200 million I talk about, that's brands paying athletes to
Right.
promote mayonnaise, Facebook groups, Chrysler Pacifica,
Yes.
you name it, right?
sense.
Local pizza place, Dave's Hot Chicken.
Yeah.
I mean, loads of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last question for you.
Sure.
When you have you talk about financial literacy of the NIL, do you guys help with that? With, let's say, I know on the starter end you
Hmm?
do with high school kids going into college, but what about those college kids who are getting NIL money, but we were 23, 24, 25 ones, we went through money, right?
Right.
So they need to learn how to be able to keep it.
withholdings for taxes. Right? So like we just issued, 25,000 1099s that had to be out the door by like 2 days ago. Right.
Yeah.
So we do the tax reporting. So first and foremost, we'll do the tax reporting for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then in the financial literacy, we've got some partners there through major banks that have online courses to teach you how to save, teach you how to set aside for your tax withholdings. Because what happens now is every deal that's over $600 has to go to a clearinghouse called NIL Go. That's the NCAA does with Deloitte.
Yep.
And it's got to meet fair market value. So those contracts are all being sent there.
Right.
So it's actually a really good opportunity to say, hey, you got that. And then we let them know this is what you should be setting aside for taxes.
Got you.
Now, I can't make you do that.
Of course. Yeah.
Right. You got your Open Doors wallet. You want to clear it out. That's all good.
Yeah.
Okay.
But we make the resources available for that.
Okay.
And we do the tax reporting.
We appreciate you giving us some of your time today. How can people find out about Open Doors?
So opendoors.com,
Okay.
you actually can go see the marketplace. And you can see, it's funny, even if a fan wanted to do a shout out from an athlete,
Yep.
they could go to opendoors.com, find their favorite athlete
Okay.
and ask them to do a birthday shout out, almost like
Wow.
a cameo
Oh,
experience.
yeah, like Cameo.
Super
Yeah.
cool, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me on today. And you guys
appreciate
stay warm out there back
Oh,
in
yeah.
Kansas
Yes,
City.
indeed.
I was supposed to go to Lincoln a couple weeks ago. I took a hard pass. I'm like, I'll show up a little bit later.
It's
When we
frozen
left,
up
it was
there.
10 degrees. We got here, it was 50. It felt like 100 degrees outside.
Welcome to California.
Yeah. All right. We're wrapping this one up. We'll be back with more guests here live from Radio Row.
The views and opinions expressed on the W Radio Show by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not represent the opinions of the W Show, 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, Sideline Sports Talk, Team Wall Street Foundation, or affiliates.